Evening all, welcome to Pride Park where Norwich City have extended their unbeaten record to 8 games, a very creditable 8 games, and you might just be able to see the scoreboard there. I'm not sure if the camera will quite focus enough on it, but it says Derby County 1, Norwich City 1. I'll just turn away from those lights a little bit, but Canaries deserved probably more, and Tim Closer, I just spoke to, said that he felt that they were pretty unlucky. It was a bit of a lucky goal. Craig Bryson, 4 minutes from time, denied what would have been a 6 win on the spin, which would have been quite incredible. That would have been the first time in 3.5 years since early days of Alex Neil's reign, so that would have been quite an achievement. But this place was rocking at the end, and I think, to be perfectly honest, despite the fact it was a pretty competitive but level game, that Norwich probably had slightly better chances in. Norwich are happy enough to leave here with a point. This is a tough place and a club that have got some real good talent. Mason Mount on loan from Chelsea looked pretty tidy tonight. Harry Wilson, maybe not quite as bright as I'd expected, but when you can bring on players like Tom Lawrence, Jack Marriott, Martin Waghorn, all players that should be very good at this level. Of course, they've got Bradley Johnson as well. Defensively, maybe not quite as convinced, but Derby are going to be up there one way or the other. But if Norwich keep pulling off results like this, then they may well be up there as well, because 8 unbeaten at this stage of the season. We all know it sort of replicates things a little bit from last year, but whether they'll go off the edge of a cliff like they did after the Arsenal game last year, I don't think so, because what we're seeing in this run is controlled performances. It's not last year. If you think back to the Sheffield United win, the Borough win, they were 1-0 wins where they got ahead and then they kicked and scrapped and held on to make sure they got the win and left with the 3 points. But that's not what they did here, and it's not what they've done in this run. They controlled the game for parts, not all of it, because, like I say, Derby are a good team, but Norwich weren't holding on in this game. They were controlling it. They were making chances, despite the fact that Daniel Farke stuck with an unchanged team for a 4th consecutive game, stuck with the young lads like Todd Cantwell, Max Aarons, Emi Buendia. Could have been an easy decision to dip them out, but he stuck with them. I think Todd Cantwell was probably the pick of them today. Missed a big chance in the first half for his first Norwich goal, though. He tried to thread Timo Pukki through. The ball sort of bounced back kindly to him, and all of a sudden he was free in the box, and about 15 yards out, just Scott Carson to beat. Tried to roll it under him. Carson read it and made it look a bit silly in the end. It was an easy save, so that was a real shame, because that would have put Norwich in front, and that would have been a huge moment for Todd Cantwell, and he probably deserves that, because the guy is working really hard, as we've talked about a few times already. He's sort of playing out of position anyway, because he's not really a left winger, so there was lots of nice tricks and flicks from Todd, and that's what we're going to see more of. But this spell is really going to be important for his career. It's going to be great development. The goal came, Tim Closer, 69th minute. Emi Buendia flashed a shot across goal, which deflected out for a corner. Buendia then went across to take that corner, and Tim Closer powered the header in at the near post from fairly close range. Scott Carson, no chance at all. His first goal this season, but I think that's 6 assists for Emi Buendia off the top of my head, because he had 5 in the cup, so that's his first league assist. And him and Max, again, I would say they did look a bit tired. They both started the game like they were trying to prove the point that they weren't tired, but I think the energy did ebb away from them a little bit in the end. And Buendia came off in the second half. Max did play it out, but there was too many crosses came in from the left, and that was where the equaliser came late on as well. 4 minutes to go. Cross came in from Martin Waghorn from the left. Zimmerman and Closer couldn't get near it, and Craig Bryson just managed to turn it in. It was a bit of an awkward finish. He sort of pointed towards his stomach as if he almost flicked it in with his stomach. I thought he'd sort of flicked it in on the volley at first, but either way he got it in, and this place was rocking at the end. So Norwich did have to hang on a little bit, but they did that okay. They tried to keep hold of the ball, tried to keep possession. So back up to 5th, which is of course a very nice position to be in, as we're on the verge of a quarter of the way of the season. We'll certainly hit that on Saturday. Stoke at home, which will be the final game before the international break, and now of course the focus has got to be on making sure that they get through this whole period, this 7 games in 3 weeks. It's been a busy old period with an unbeaten record. That would be 9 games to then have a rest and get ready to go again through till Christmas. And if they can continue in this kind of form where they are actually controlling games and they're getting points that they deserve, then by Christmas we'll really know what this team are capable of. Long way to go, of course, but getting results at getting a draw at a place like Derby really does bode well. So the away fans who were here tonight, I haven't had an official figure, but there was certainly, I'd say, 1,000, 1,200, and they were joined by some former Norwich players today as well. You've probably seen on social media by now, James Maddison, John Ruddy and Ryan Bennett all amongst the City supporters here tonight. Of course, Ruddy and Bennett play for Wolves, and Maddison down the road at Leicester, so not too far for them to come. So that's a nice sign to see. And those away fans, wow, they've had great fun, haven't they? This draw, the win at Wycombe last weekend, which was on the back of wins at QPR and Reading. So it really is going along nicely at the moment. And okay, they didn't get the win tonight, but I don't think there's any reason to be too downhearted at all. They certainly showed well. I think Moritz Leitner was probably one of the picks of the players. He popped up all over the pitch. Marcus Stiepermann maybe a little bit quieter. Pukki didn't have too much opportunity, but both kept running. Stiepermann kept putting his foot in. Alex Tettey, same as ever, breaking up a lot of play. There was quite a nice moment when he robbed Bradley Johnson towards the end of the game, which of course his former teammate, midfield teammate, and Johnson looked very pleased with himself, then overplayed the ball out for a throw-in. So I think they can call that one a stalemate. But Klose and Zimmerman on the whole, I mean, I haven't seen the equaliser back yet, but I don't think they'll be keen to see that one back particularly. I think that the flight of the ball just seemed to completely miss them out. But as I say, I have to see that one back. But there we go. Don't need to worry about the details too much when it's 8 games unbeaten. You can sort those little things go. But what a shame it isn't 6-1s on the spin, because that really would have been something. But Daniel Farke just speaking to the media, and as Tim said, they leave here feeling unlucky not to have won. So on to Stoke, and hopefully what will be a really good atmosphere at Carrow Road. I think it was a little bit nervy for the Wigan game, because it was one where you're not too sure what Wigan are going to turn up with, up from League One and started quite well. But Stoke, we know they've got a lot of money to spend. They're just down from a decade in the Premier League, and hopefully Carrow Road will be a really united place, because if you can get 3 points to finish this section and make it 9 unbeaten with, what would that be, 7 wins in 9, that would be, and you'd certainly be in the top 6 going into the international break. That would be a heck of a position to be in. So on to Carrow Road, we'll see what the weekend brings.